So we just got a good ruling from a federal district court judge in Texas. Texas votes will count. It's just kind of the way it should be, right? Let's talk about that. Because justice matters. Hey y'all, Glenn Kirshner here. So regarding the courts, we have reason to be optimistic. We have reason for hope. The courts are holding. The state of the judiciary remains strong. You may have heard in recent days that there was a challenge filed in court by the GOP trying to get first a Texas state court to throw out 127,000 votes because they were cast as part of drive-through voting, which frankly is appropriate and lawful in Texas. Didn't matter. The Republicans challenged it in the Texas state courts. And the Texas state courts ruled that those votes would be counted, including the Texas State Supreme Court, which, by the way, is made up of all Republicans. The Texas State Supreme Court said those votes will be counted. So what did the Republicans do? They ran into federal court and they filed another challenge trying to get a federal court judge to throw out drive-through voting, 127,000 votes. And earlier today, the federal court judge, who, mind you, was appointed by George W. Bush, also threw out the challenge to drive-through voting. So now the federal court and the Texas State Supreme Court have both ruled that those 127,000 ballots will count. Here are some of the headlines that came out of that case today. First of all, CNN. Federal judge allows Texas's Harris County to count ballots cast via drive-through voting. And I love this headline from The Hill because they put it even more succinctly. GOP challenge to Texas drive-through voting tossed. So the judge in the case, the federal district court judge in Texas who just threw out this Republican challenge, is a judge named Andrew Hanen, Hanen. He's a George W. Bush appointee. And I will say he said something when he was making this ruling today that was kind of equal parts concerning and heartening. He said, quote, "I'm not happy with that finding, but the way I look at it, the law requires it." Well, I'm going to say plus 2 points to Judge Hanen for deciding the case the way the law requires. But I'm going to say minus 1 point for sharing your own innermost thoughts and feelings. That's really not what judges are supposed to do. Announce how they feel about a finding that is required by the law. How about you just judge? I don't want to quibble because he made the right decision, the lawful decision, the constitutional decision to count every vote. Maybe now the Republicans will stop trying to suppress our votes. Nah. So this good court ruling comes on top of other good court rulings, folks. I know you've heard me say it before that the state of our judiciary is strong, but after 30 years standing up inside courtrooms, both military and civilian, I maintain that the judiciary will hold, even through these most difficult times. We had a Pennsylvania State Supreme Court case that said, yeah, ballots that are received late because of the slow mail service up to 3 days after November 3rd will be counted, as long as they're postmarked by November 3rd. And the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, refused to hear that challenge, refused to overturn that ruling from the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court. That was a good development. And frankly, can I say that for the Trump administration to try to argue that you shouldn't count ballots that are received a little late because of the slow mail delivery, when Trump is the one who appointed a corrupt postmaster general to slow the mail, that's a laughable argument. That's a laughable claim. And you know, some judges might be a little partisan, but they're not stupid. They're not going to buy into that kind of a claim. There was also a good ruling in a North Carolina voting case. The rulings are good. The state of the judiciary is strong. And remember, Amy Coney Barrett, we've talked a good bit about her, and I suspect her name will be popping up some more in future discussions we have. But even she didn't participate in the last two Supreme Court voting decisions, whether to accept review of cases or not. That's also a good sign, because she shouldn't participate in any case involving this election because of what Donald Trump said, that he was appointing her. He was nominating her. So, if I may paraphrase, she could throw the case corruptly to him. She should not participate in any decision, in any voting case, because it will not be perceived as legitimate. And it will so damage the reputation and the legitimacy of the Supreme Court if she does participate. But a little bit more good news. Let's remember all of this, all of these good decisions in the voting rights and vote counting arena have to be viewed against the backdrop of that one presidential case that came before the Supreme Court this summer. You remember when the president said, I have absolute immunity? I don't have to comply with subpoenas. I'm above the law. I am beyond the reach of the courts. And even Donald Trump's own two draft picks, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, ruled against him. The state of the judiciary is strong. We're going to have plenty of reasons to quibble with and criticize future decisions, I'm sure, when it comes to what some of the justices may try to do, taking away our personal rights, our fundamental rights, our constitutional rights, whether it's a right of autonomy, a woman's right of autonomy over her body, whether it is marriage equality, whether it's affordable health care with coverage for pre-existing conditions. We'll have plenty to discuss and debate and criticize and even rail against in the future when it comes to our fundamental rights and what the Supreme Court may try to do. But right now, in the voting arena, in the ballot counting arena, the state of the judiciary remains strong, and it was bolstered today by a very good ruling by a federal court judge in Texas. And before I sign off, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we've learned that Donald Trump is building a wall around himself, right? We've all felt cornered from time to time in our lives, but rarely do we self-corner. He's building a wall around himself at the White House. That's not the behavior of a winner. That's not the behavior of someone confident that he is about to win an election. Why? Because he's about to lose an election in a landslide. That begins tomorrow when we get out to vote in numbers too big to rig, in numbers too real to steal. And then in January, justice. And justice matters. Folks, please stay safe. Please be safe while you're standing in line waiting to vote, whether it is for minutes or hours upon hours. Stay safe. Get your vote in tomorrow. And then we're going to watch the results roll in. And we're going to be preparing to say goodbye to Donald Trump and his corrupt administration. I'm sure of it. And I look forward to talking with you tomorrow on Election Day.